This is Showtime Sean Porter.
This is Aerosmith Jr.
Hey everyone, this is Jesse Vargas.
And you're watching True School Sports.
You're watching True School Sports.
And you're watching True School Sports.
Stay tuned.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, Rick. Being that you've had a chance to live through so many different eras of boxing, do you ever like see what's going on in boxing sometimes and just think like boxing has become too soft? Or
I say it every day.
yeah.
I mean, when I started in boxing, okay, next month I celebrate. I don't know if I'm observing or celebrating. Maybe I shouldn't celebrate it. Maybe I should just observe it. But you didn't like that joke? That was supposed to be funny.
What
my
happened?
God, you missed that one, my friend. So, anyways, next month I observe 30 years in boxing full time, and when I started in boxing, you used to call up a manager for a fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the manager would say to you, "Yeah, we'll take the fight. Send me the contract." You'd fax them the contract, right?
Yeah.
The contract would come back the next day. Boom. Now you call up the manager and you say, "Hey, I got a fight. Well, let me talk to the trainer. Me and the trainer are going to talk to the fighter. Then he's going to discuss it with his wife." I mean, it's fucking retarded today. I mean, fucking retarded. That's the first thing that's different.
Okay.
The second thing is different is if the fighter didn't have a manager back then,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of fighters had professional managers back then. Now the managers are lawyers and they're businessmen and they're industrialists and all these kind of other things. Well, you used to call up a fighter and you were talking to a real manager. That's what the guy did for a living, manage fighters. Al Bravermans and Al Cerdos and these kind of guys.
Top guys.
These old school guy, old school David Runyon character type guy. Now you call up for a manager, and they say, "Oh, he's in court. He's in the courtroom right now."
Yeah.
He used to be in the gym with the fighter. Now he's in the courtroom. Another thing is because of that, the fighters are now not as close to the managers; are closer to the trainers because the trainers are spending so much time with them. So the trainers are ruling the roost and making the decisions with the fight for the fighter more or less than the managers. The managers almost like a go-between now.
Yeah, middleman.
So, almost not a middleman because of the fact that he's getting his money off the fighter. He's not brokering a deal. He's still with the fighter, but he's not really making the decision. It's the trainer and the fighter. The other problem is fighters used to lose, and then they'd have four guys on the card, and sometimes one would lose, no big deal. Now, if the guy loses one fight, the trainer's embarrassed, so he don't want to put the guy in a loss. Because then he thinks his reputation's getting hurt. His ego and pride are shattered.
Yeah, they can't take it.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Here's the other problem you got today, okay? Fighters don't get into the gym until they have a signed contract. They don't stay in the gym active in between fights.
Yeah, they don't
get out of shape. They get out of shape. They blow up in weight, and then you got a pile of shit night of the fight, and the guy gets stopped with a body shot because he used all this time to lose weight and to make the weight. Okay, he didn't use the time to hone his skills and to tone his body up. So he's getting stopped with body shots. So that they never were stopped with before. So it's just many areas that all stay soft in this era of boxing. First of all, you're going to get soft if you only fight. If you're a champ, you only fight a maximum of twice a year, and if you're a regular fighter and you only fight 2-3 times a year, you're going to get soft. They used to fight 6 times a year. De La Hoya's champ fought 6 times in 1997.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a good era of fighters. Boxing, the era of boxing is good today. We have so many networks and streaming devices involved now,
Mm-hmm.
and so much money involved and stuff, and that's all good. That's the business part of it. The fighters, they don't have the desire They just don't. They don't have. They go play football. They go play bad. That's why there's no great American heavyweights really. And if you get one that can fight a little bit, he came from football. That he got injured or he wasn't good enough to go any further in football.
Yeah,
so
and then he picked up boxing at 29 years old and 30 years old.
Yeah, Dominic Brazil and these kind of guys. Gerald Washington, Dominic Brazil, all these guys. And just it's back. It's a different era of boxing. It's a funny thing. Back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, fighters came out of prison and they boxed. Okay, now they come out of football and they box. Okay, it's a different kind of thing today, and it's just that these guys they're not in the gym learning their craft, honing their skills and stuff like that. It's just I'll tell you an unbelievable story.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to mention the fighter's name on the air.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. If you ask me privately, I'll mention his name to you, but I'm not going to mention it to everybody because it's unfair to the guy. So, back in the 90s, what's his name there? Dana Rosenblatt fought Vinny Pazienza twice. Okay?
Yep.
I got the number one contender in the world that was number one, waiting for his title shot. Okay, to go spar with him twice in the two fights, the original fight and the rematch. To go spar with Dana, who could fight like Vinny. And make a long story short, he went twice to go spar with him, the number one contender in the world. Imagine trying to do that today.
To go spar with the number one contender in your weight class?
Yeah.
That would never happen. That never happens. It's rare.
Right. Well, no, it was one weight class below.
Okay.
It was one weight class below. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Still, it wouldn't happen.
I mean, nowadays, some guys won't even. Most fighters won't even fight each other if they're friends. They won't even think about it. They say, "Well, he's my friend, so I can't fight him." But like then back in the day, like in the 80s,
Simon Brown fought Maurice Blocker.
I was just gonna say that. Maurice Blocker and Simon Brown. They were the best of friends.
Right. Okay. Business is business. Okay. It's a soft era of boxers. Now that doesn't mean certain fighters are soft, because they're not. Terrence Crawford's not soft.
Tyson Fury.
Earl Spence isn't soft. Teofimo Lopez isn't soft.
Romeo Gonzalez.
What's that?
Chocolatito.
Yeah, Chocolatito. I mean, those are old school guys. Yes, I agree. Okay, but as a general era, the ERA, it's very, very soft today. Very soft. Soft to the point that it's disappointing. When you got guys losing, when you got offering guys fights, 6-round fighters or 8-round fighters, let's say 8-round fighters and 6-round fighters, and they say, "Oh, I don't want to take the fight. Why? I'll screw up my unemployment benefits." I mean, what the fuck? Please. They're not fighters, they're frauds.
Yeah.
Come on now. You know what I mean?
That's it. I never heard that one before.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard everything. I've heard every excuse in the world why somebody didn't want to take a fight. Okay? I had a guy, here's a funny story. You ready?
Yeah, I'm listening.
This is really funny.
Okay.
Okay? So I called a fighter one day, and he takes the fight. I sent him the contract, and he signs the contract, sends it back, and his wife was amongst the missing for 2 days. She wasn't available because I called the house for him, and she wasn't around, and she normally answers the phone. So he said to him, he says, "My wife don't want me to take the fight." I said, "Your wife don't want to take the fight? What did she have to do with this?" Well, she says she don't want me to take the fight because she's got, she's a nurse, and she's got to, I got to watch the kids while she's gone. You can't hire a babysitter? Man, my wife don't trust no babysitter. That's why he didn't take the fight. Now, wait. Then...
There's more?
No, he didn't take the fight. There's more. Then, about 2 months later, he calls me up all depressed that he needs money. I said, "Why?" He said, "Oh, my wife threw me out. She was cheating on me."
Oh,
blah,
God.
blah, blah. Well, that's why she was missing for 2 days. He thought she was working. wasn't working. She was cheating.
She was getting her back. She was getting her back blown out.
Oh my God! you wouldn't even believe some of these excuses. You just wouldn't even believe. Here's another thing that's amazing. I'll tell you something amazing. Okay.
Okay.
And you'll get a kick out of this. Okay.
Yeah.
I send a lot of fighters overseas for fights and for sparring. You know.
Yep.
And paid sparring. Well, international, 70% of my business. Matter of fact, representing Frank, being Frank Warren's international representative. Okay. So foreign is 70% of my business. This is amazing. 7 out of 10 heavyweights owe child support. Can't take fights overseas, can't take sparring, but you never have a little guy owe child support. You call a guy who's 26-pounder, 30-pounder, 35, they never owe child support. It's always heavyweight. What's with that?
I don't know. I guess the girls just wanted the bigger guys.
So does that mean if you have a small Johnson, you don't owe child support? What the fuck does that mean? I'm telling you, 70% of guys can't go. Journeyman fighters can't go overseas because they owe child support. But you call a little guy up, they never owe child support.
Because little guys are smart.
I don't know what it is, but that's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. I never have a little guy owe child support.
So
never.
Nobody below a middleweight has ever owed child support.
No. So, light heavyweights don't owe. I had like one light heavyweight, one cruiserweight owe child support, but not a rash. 70% of heavyweights owe child support. Okay, I mean it's unbelievable. I was getting guys lined up to fight to spar with Daniel Dubois for a fight last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Dubois, and I said, well, he can't go over. Well, how come? He said, they owe child support. He said, what is it about the child support? It sounds like I'm a phony and not doing my job or I can't deliver. They do owe child support.
That's insane.